So it's no secret, I am a bag nerd. Some of you may totally get it, but some of you for whatever reason get offended that I carry a sling bag. And yes, it's a sling bag. It's not a purse.
Yes, a purse! I carry a purse!
Okay, maybe it is a purse, but it's not a fanny pack. I mean, do you see a pair of butt cheeks on my chest? No. But for you fellow many baggers, I've got 2 cord mods for you that you just might find a bit shocking. Now, before I get too into the mod though, you should know the reason why I'm a bit of a bag nerd. And the simple reason is that I'm an EDC or everyday carry nerd as well. And for the uninitiated, EDC is the sometimes expensive art of stuffing your pockets with cool gear that has questionable utility and practicality, all the while taking cool photos of it and posting it on Instagram for validation. So carrying a sling is useful for me because I like keeping my pockets somewhat light and I can stuff all the crap I carry in here. And here refers to my current daily driver. Well, not really so much a daily driver because that would imply that I go out every day. But I don't because I'm a YouTube hermit. But my go-to sling has been the Air City Sling 2, not sponsored. I used to use the Alpaca Elements tech case, but I'm finding I like the dimensions of this one a bit better. Now, while the size of this sling is great, I'm going to show you what I have inside of it in a bit, and there is a very simple mod we can create with some shock cord and a bit of hardware to add some additional storage space. And the reason we're using shock cord is because of its elastic nature. In terms of hardware, I'm using these Duraflex baby hooks. But if you don't want to get these, you can also use cord locks that are much more readily available. We unfortunately don't have all of this stuff on the Paracord Weaver site, but for the stuff that we do, I will have all the relevant links down below. If you're using the cord locks, you're going to have to put them on now before you close the loop. Now, when you cut shock cord, you can still hit it with the lighter just a bit to melt the outer sheathing slightly, but do it very quickly as the cord is mostly rubber and it will just burn. And of course, also make sure you don't inhale any fumes. To close our loop, I'm going to use the double fisherman's knot, which is essentially 2 double overhand knots that are tied over the opposite cords. Now this mod should work with different types of sling bags, but you might have to sort of modify how you do it depending on the shape of yours, but it does work particularly well with this specific sling. So we ran the cord around the bag, and this particular sling has 2 spaces on either side for it. And from there, I just tied the double fisherman's knot where the cords meet. The double fisherman's loop is a very useful set of knots to know, and they're very simple to tie. With the cords crossing over, you just tie a double overhand knot on one side going over the opposite cord, then do the same thing again on the other side with the second cord. Now you'll most likely have to play around with the sizing of this to fit your bag snugly, but again we can adjust the size of the loop by moving the knots back and forth. And don't worry about the knots showing as we can hide them by moving them to the side. Well, at least particularly on this bag. And from there we can incorporate the hardware. And now we have our first mod complete, which are these retention loops that allow you to store some additional things on your sling, like a small umbrella, or a rolled up light jacket or hoodie. You could even potentially store heavier items like a small water bottle. However, you'll have to make sure there's enough tension on the shock cord to ensure that the bottle is secure. And you can do this by adjusting the size of the loop, but also sliding the hardware back and forth can increase the tension depending on the size of your bottle. Now, before I get into the second mod, you might be wondering what's inside my EDC sling, and I'm going to show you. So inside my bag of tricks, I have my wallet that I keep on the inside pocket that is closest to my body. This is the Alpaca Arc Bifold Cash Wallet. I love this wallet and it just might be my current favorite. Inside the main compartment, I have an alpaca zip pouch. This is kind of like a second wallet, but this one just has coins in it, and I do find it useful every once in a while to have some spare change. On the side of this pouch, there is also my small backup blade, which is a Victorinox SD Classic with micarta scales, and also a mini bolt action pen from Big Idea Design. We've also got a USB-C cable, and these next 2 items I find it really hard to live without, and that's a chapstick because I hate having dry, chapped lips, and it's also winter right now in Canada, so the weather sucks. And of course, hand sanitizer because it's good to keep the hands clean even when you don't have soap and water. For my knife, I have the Civivi Baby Banter in all black, and I've modded this one with some titanium scales from Flytanium. And of course, sometimes I like to have some fun stuff like a skill toy or Big Larry in the bag as well. Oh, and yeah, another daily essential. You never know when you'll need to make a pit stop at the Cinnabon. And finally, I do like to carry a flashlight because even though we have flashlights on our phones these days, a more powerful dedicated light definitely has its uses. And in this case, it is the Nightcore EDC-23, which is also from today's sponsor. They sent this over for me to check out, and honestly, I couldn't say no because number one, look at this thing. It looks so cool. It's got this rectangular shaped body, which is already super different from the usual sort of cylindrical shaped ones. And it's made of this really cool carbon fiber reinforced polymer, so it's super strong but light in weight. There's a locking switch on the side so you don't run the risk of accidental activation. And check out this mini OLED screen on the front too. Shows you all the cool stuff like battery life and the different levels of brightness. It's super versatile, going from 15 lumens all the way up to 1100, but it's super easy to use. I also like that there's a primary on and off switch that allows you to operate the light normally, and there's a larger secondary one. So if you do a light press, you go into turbo mode at 2500 lumens, which is kind of insane. But if you press it all the way down, it goes into strobe, or what I like to call kryptonite mode. So it could be pressed into those self-defense situations, especially at night, in case you need to disorient someone while you escape or go for a firearm or something like that. Not here in Canada though, you'll get arrested for defending yourself. But anyhow, last but not least, it even comes with a paracord lanyard that you can attach to the backside where the clip is. And I think this would make for a great overall EDC light if you're looking for something a bit more substantial and versatile. So if you want to check out the EDC-23 for yourself, link is in the description. And before any of you say it, oh, you know all that stuff and you probably never use it. Well, you know what? In the EDC world, that's the name of the game. I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. But hey, you do what you like. So that's what's in my bag, and I did promise you one more shock cord mod, so here it is. Now with a bit more shock cord and a carabiner, I can attach this to a strategic point on my sling, and using the same double overhead knot on both ends to attach, and this third point keeps the bag in the same position on my back. Now this is mainly for you cyclists or maybe even motorbike riders out there, as I'm sure if you're wearing a sling bag, you want to keep it on your back and out of the way when you're riding, so that it doesn't slowly swing its way to the front. And are these mods necessary? They might be, or they might not be. I'm just throwing ideas out there for you guys. I hope you found these mods shockingly good. Okay, I'll stop.